Hey, welcome to another episode of Legion Elite Motorsports. I'm your host, Isaiah, and today we are going to continue the yellow conquest Starquest help episode. Actually postponed it for a little while because there were a couple pieces missing and the owner had to get it. But this episode is kind of a good one. I guess good and bad, depending on how you think about it. But I'll give you a hint. She lives. So let's see. Okay, so we are getting the pan back in here. And this is exactly what I was talking about. The baffled part of the pan getting in the way of you putting back up the pan. So, in this case, you would probably have to lift up the motor a little bit just to clear everything. But I'm gonna see if I can pull this area down a little bit to get the screen past the baffle. But besides that, it should go in very easily. Of course, once it gets in its proper position. And yeah, should be good to go. And I was actually going to replace this pickup tube, but the one I have is actually worse than this one. So we're gonna stick with this one. I'm not going to pull on it, yank it, or do anything like that because you can mess up the seal right there. And if you mess up the seal there and it doesn't pick up any oil, your engine's going to starve. So to avoid any of that crisis, we're going to leave it as is. It is dented, but not that bad. Plus, it's always going to have oil on it. It will be good. So let me finesse this into place and we'll be right back. Okay, pan is 100% in. And we're going to run the return line to that guy there. Also, we're going to pop in the dipstick. So, besides that, I reinstalled that guy and the end link over there. And reinstalled this side over here. That's all done. And let me see if I can get this dipstick up in here from the bottom. Because it's going to be extremely difficult to get it in from the top due to the fact that there's no hole to get it in there. So I'm gonna have to just put it in like so and hope for the best. So definitely a two-hand job. So I will be back. Okay, so we have the dipstick here. It's kind of floating right now, but it's all the way in. All the way in, and you can check it without the whole tube coming up. So that's got to count for something. And yeah, not sure what to do with that, but it is functioning. So we're gonna leave that right there for right now. And now we're gonna take this pinched return line and bring it down there to our new return line. I just got to make sure everything clears, and that should be cake. That's on there pretty good. Didn't even need a clamp. But anyway, so I'm gonna pull this hose off. We're going to plug this line because it will spew oil. Then we're gonna route this line straight down here to the new return, which is right there. And that will be done. No more kink situation. That'll be good to go. Okay, so we got our new axles, and these things are quite beefy compared to original. I have to get the guys information who actually modifies the original axles to handle more power, and better yet, to have new axles. So as soon as I get that info, I'll definitely pass it on to you guys, because my axles on my silver car are not looking too healthy. So I'm gonna keep that in mind. But car is in the air. I'm gonna show you guys how to change those bad boys. So as you can see, axle's right there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna loosen up the 6 bolts around it and move the axle out of the way and pop it out of the differential, which is right back here. And that should be it. So I'll be right back once I get to these 6 bolts off. Okay, so axle is out. So you loosen up all 6 bolts, right? Then you move the shaft this way. Then you take your ever so pleasant pry bar, pop it up in this area, and pop it out. Boop! And all of that done without even taking out the wheel. So that's good. So we're gonna do the opposite side, but we're gonna put in this axle before we do the opposite side. And once it's all said and done, we're going to pressure wash this slimy differential, and we should be good. Okay, and comparing the shafts. So they are pretty much identical as far as length and all of that stuff is concerned. But from what I understand, the remanufactured version has machined bearings, so the actual roller bearings are bigger than factory bearings. So that could be a plus depending on how you look at it, because thicker bearing improves, you know, strength. So that's that. I assume, don't get me wrong, if you were to take your original axle to a machine shop, axle shop or whomever, they'd be able to do the same exact thing as this one for a decent price per axle. So depending, you know, if you want to go that route, it's definitely open as an option, since they do not have these over the counter anymore. So that's a little comparison, and we're gonna put in a new one. All right, so passenger side is done, and driver's side also. So axles are in, looking clean, minus the differential, which I do plan on pressure washing this. So that's all done. Super simple, super easy. Don't even have to take off the wheels. And yes, moving on to the next thing. Okay, so we have the right LT10S connected, which is fuel only. And this is the old one. And like I said, you can't tell just by looking at it. So we're gonna connect the fuel pump. There is a pre-tune on the computer. And we're gonna make sure all of that stuff is working. Okay, fuel pump is connected. 41 PSI. And it lives. That is what I'm talking about. Excellent, excellent. That was a success. Okay, so I put the fuel pump on a relay and I placed it over here in the jungle of mess, which hopefully will get cleaned up. And the diagram for the fuel pump is right over here. So there you go, when you connect it directly to a relay, so you no longer have to plug it into a switch. The factory key on is the original switch. So that is connected, so I don't have to mess with the fuel pump. And we technically are ready to tune the car, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to check for this oil leak. It seems to be coming either from the valve cover in the rear or the cam seal in the rear. So I'm gonna check that out and see what the issue is. But before I do, I'm going to actually clean the area to make sure I could see exactly where it's coming from. So let me back the car out and we're gonna listen to the new idle. So now we get to do the fun part. Now that we have most things connected, we're gonna take this thing to get some tuning done. So oh yeah, not bad. Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna go for a drive, but the weather said no. And I definitely can't tune this car spinning all over the place, so gonna have to wait for the weather to calm down, which according to the weather report, this is not gonna stop. So let me just give you guys a heads up of everything that's been done. We were missing this boost clamp here. I actually found one in my stash, so that's on there temporarily until the proper one comes in the mail. The intake pipe, that's another item I found in my stash of crap, and I put it on there just temporarily to make sure he doesn't suck up anything to destroy his turbo. So since we are shut down here, I am going to bring in a guest appearance of a car that you guys haven't seen in quite a bit of time, just to kind of catch you up on what's been going on with that. So here's the car. Hope you guys enjoy. So again, I got some questions. What happened to the black Conquest? Where has it been? Is it running? What's the news? If we come over here, I have just a downpipe pointing straight down to the ground, and then I'll add the rest later. Turbo still brand new, no complaints. Everything's working exactly the way it should. Of course, there's still adjustments that need to be done pertaining timing and things like that, but it does run and drive and everything. So I'm going to connect the battery and fuel pump and give it a start. Here she is at idle. Now, I only put a tune on the Microtech just to get it running. But as soon as I get an air-fuel ratio gauge on here, including, you know, some other tidbits, I'll be able to fine-tune it. But it is running, and I'm going to give it a couple revs for you so you know what's going on. All right? So here we go. Sounds pretty good. Still have lots of little things to do, but fuel pressure's right at 40, 42, and I'm on Trilogy injectors. The ECU harness still has the other two injectors. Sorry, it's kind of hard for you to hear because this car is so loud, but yeah, so basically the car's a driver. We're going to take it for a rip, and what the battery tie downs I have to do. I have to connect the fuel pump to the computer relay, and yeah, things like that. But she definitely runs and drives. We're going to take her for a spin in just a second and see how she does. Right now I got her coupled because of a dead battery. It definitely has been a while since I've been at this car. So yep, this is the inside. I still have to do a boost gauge. I'm going to show you guys how to install an aftermarket boost gauge on here. And I still need a center console and a couple other things to show you guys what's up with this car, how it's been, how it's doing. Is it ready to drive? Which that it is. We're going to take it for a spin in just a second. And things like that. So I definitely want to finish it, but I'm going to be bringing this car to the house so I can put everything together properly. Right now I have it at a family member's house, and it's been here since the day I got it. So I'm going to take it for a spin and see how she does. Fans are on thanks to the thermostatic switch. Perfect. All right, so stay tuned. We'll get behind the wheel and make some things happen. working. The voltage and everything else is. I don't know how accurate the mile an hour is. But she's a tank. Up on the tune, but again, I just tuned it to run. Excuse the shaking, these tires are a little dry rotted to say the least, but that's one of those things that you can do while sitting still. So as soon as I get an air fuel ratio gauge in here, which I can't stress enough is key to tuning, and I actually need to replace the one for the silver Starion too. That one kind of crapped out. I'm going to try out a AEM wideband. I had the innovative. I did not have such good luck with it, but maybe it's an old model. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But yeah. So I want to make sure that I get a good tune on this car before the long drive home, which is about an hour. So, you know. But yeah. She's a good car. She keeps temperature. Runs really well. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you found it useful in any kind of way possible. But yes, definitely make sure you join me for the next episode. It is definitely going to be a good one. We're going to finalize this yellow Quest, hopefully, and take it from there. So there's one more episode of that, and then we're going to be moving on to the VR4 project, finally, after all of this time. But yeah, hopefully we'll get it done, and I'll see you next episode.